Hello.
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 Wow, look at you beautiful people. Oh my god.
The beautiful people. The beautiful people. Thank you.
Well. When the DM smiles, it's already too late.
It's already too late.
Jesus.
Oh.
I do think that's true.
There's one person in this party that could tell you it's true because they've experienced it with me before.
Yes, or he goes quiet for too long and he starts rolling dice. And
That's also entirely a thing. Okay, so let's say we just jump right into it. So we open in the world of Vale. It's a wonderful spring morning. Very clear weather. There is a small village bordering on the size of a town, concealed in a very heavily wooded area. This is an elf town, elf village, by the name of Meadras. It's primarily populated by wood elves, so we're seeing lots of tall, slender, graceful, long-haired individuals, lots of earthly colors, green, brown tones to the skin, lots of browns and dirty blondes and blacks for the hair. Animals are kind of running to and fro, both wild and somewhat domesticated. There's sort of near one of the further edges of town is a house, not too large. That doesn't indicate posh royalty lives here, but it's also not too small, not to indicate that there's anybody that seems to struggle. There's a rather well-off house. As we go into the house, there's a young, green skin-hued, green hair elf sitting on her bed, just nose deep in a book, no movement aside from the eyes darting left to right from every new line on every new page. Eventually, there is a knock at the door. The young elf looks up and hears, "Penelope! Penelope, are you in there?" Penelope!
My character looks up and she whispers, "Yes?"
Well, good, I'm coming in. The door opens, and standing in the doorway is this about 5'8" wood elf with green tints to the skin, sort of a yellow-green tint to the hair, long flowing hair. She's dressed in these very, very fine farmer's clothes. You know, it's not a fancy dress, but it's something that says, I do honest work even if I don't do it directly myself. On the bed sits the first person of the party that we will meet, Penelope Starflower. Penelope, please explain your appearance.
So my hair is a wavy, kind of forest green hair color. Skin, a lighter tone of green yellow, and eyes, a dark orange. I go ahead and wear a long dress that has quite fine materials in it, and it also has a family crest of a starflower towards the bottom edge of the robes. And I also like to wear a cloak, but not one with a hoodie, more like just something to cover over me. And I love to definitely have little knickknacks with me. It's one of my pastimes aside from also studying. So I tend to carry around with me, often at least one thing in my hand for sure. Whittled animals from just regular branches that I've found throughout the forest. My favorite one, however, that I always keep with me is one that I've whittled of a bird.
All right. So, your mother looks at you, and she kind of stares at you for a little bit with this contemplation. Her mind is obviously working. And then you see her eyes sort of squint a little bit as if she's confused by something. And she turns and looks up at the doorframe of your room and goes, "Ah, will you please tell your bird to stop scaring me?" Your raven just lets out a little "Arr!" and then flaps on over to you and nestles on your knee and just stares at her unblinking. Anyway, I would ask what you're doing, but I know the answer is reading. There's something I need you to do. You know my good friend, the one who runs the Elmwood Goods shop, Alenieth. Well, I've had a talk with him this morning, and he's told me that there's been some things that have gone missing from his shop, seemingly overnight, over the past couple of nights. But he won't try to make a fuss out of it. He just, you know him, grumpy old man. He just goes, "I'll deal with it." Well, you're going to help him. I'm sorry, dear, but you have been spending too much time in your room since you have come back from school, and you need to get out of the house more.
My character sighs, and she looks down at her raven and whispers, "Do I really have to?"
Your mom kind of looks out your door down the hall a little bit, and you hear this little whisper. You can't really tell what was said, but you can tell it's your dad down the hall, and she just goes, "Yes."
My character decides to place her nice ribbon around her finger, and she stands up. Okay,
Good.
she
Oh,
follows.
I'm glad that's settled. She leads you out of your room, down the hall, into the sort of living space, the den of your home, where a familiar person is standing there waiting for you. You recognize the person that you met in the forest not too long ago outside the village. You recognize Adonis. Adonis, why don't you go ahead and describe what she sees, and for the audience.
Alrighty, so for now, Adonis be wearing just a crude mask, just to hide his face, and then he's wearing a long cloak with a hood just to cover everything else. Yeah, he's very rugged looking from all the adventuring that he's been doing. He tends to stay like outside of town most of the time. So yeah.
Yeah. Very, very Aragorn from first Lord of the Rings when he was just covered in the cloak and hood. A wooden mask covering most of his face. Same way you saw him before. He looks like he could have just walked right in from outside. And your mom goes, "I've already spoken to your friend here because I know you get anxious around people. But I've seen the two of you talking before, and firstly, darling, I'm so glad you finally made a friend. A human one. But he's agreed to go with you."
Okay. As before walking out, she goes ahead and places her normal routine for walking out the door. the pin that her mother gave her to pull back her hair so she can go ahead and interact with people, as that was her normal way of presenting herself. And her pin had the family crest on it as well.
The little star flower on the hairpin. All right.
Mhm.
So the two of you leave. You know, Penelope, you know where this shop is. The Elm Woods Goods. So the two of you make your way down there. It's a typical morning, you know. As I said before, lots of animals, some wild, a lot of forest critters, a lot of squirrels and smaller birds, just kind of going in and out. You're not necessarily like anything completely wild and uncivilized where animals roam free. It's just your town in the middle of some very thick woods, so you're gonna get the creatures like that. You see a boar run by and a couple of young elf children chase after it, and then there's another one like, no, come back, bring him back. You know, you pass the sporadic, scattered out half elf, you know, the offspring of one of the villages of your humble town, and a human. So one of those ones that like some people just tend to side eye because you're different. As you pass the inn and tavern, why don't the two of you look at your character sheets and tell me what your passive perceptions are?
Mine would be 13.
13.
15.
A 15. All right. So yeah, you will both notice as you walk past the inn and tavern, that there's, you know, the trash that's been placed outside, ready to be disposed of. You see a small figure, looks to be smaller in nature, seems to be curled up, and is sleeping on one of the big trash bags. It's the same individual that people have talked about over the past couple nights that's just kind of there, just kind of sleeps on the trash. And so you just kind of both give it a glance, look at each other. You know, you're like, well, it's nothing out of the ordinary, so you continue on your way, and you eventually make it into the Elmwood Goods. As you walk in, there is something that catches your eyes immediately, something the two of you haven't seen before. There's a individual behind the counter, Aleniath, the owner of the shop, an older elf, a bit experienced in the world, if you will, as he's got much longer hair than most elves have, and even for being wood elf, his skin is much paler. His hair is much more tinted with silvers and grays, and he has wrinkles, which a lot of elves don't really get. They're normally very, very fair skinned, very, very nice complexions, and there he is. Just he's traveled the world. He's seen some things. He's done some hard living. What catches you off guard, though, is the individual speaking to him. Firstly, it's the size of this individual. They are, for lack of a better word, jacked. You know, being in an elf town, Penelope, you don't see a lot of big people, a lot of big muscular people. Most elves are very lithe, very thin, and they can definitely have muscle tone and muscle definition. But this person is like just ripped. Looks like there's a baseball in their arms. Adonis, you're pretty muscular yourself, but this person is just like, wow, you might be on your level. But they're blue, which makes the two of you instantly go, what am I looking at? You stare at the blue skin with these, what blue skin you can see. They also have this swirling black ink that just tends to run down the arms, and there's horns, black ram horns that tend to come up and they loop back around the back of the head. I want the two of you to go to your character sheet and click on history and roll me some history skill checks, please. All right. With a 14 for Adonis and a 7 for Penelope. I'm gonna have to say, Penelope, roll me another one because of how book learned you are. You've read a lot of books, and this is definitely an intelligence-based skill. So go ahead and roll me another one. We'll do this with advantage. That's better. Adonis, you're world traveled. You've heard of these. You might have seen one of these before, but it's just the first time in a while, and you've never seen one up close. And Penelope, you've just never seen anything like this before, but you've read about these things. You both instantly go, oh, this might be a tiefling. Now let's get a full description of what this tiefling looks like from the player.
Yes, so I am Theron Vita. Theron is a beefy boy. He's got cake, that's for certain. So he is a cerulean tiefling. I don't remember what we had labeled for a height, but I believe it was somewhere around 6 foot, just above, perhaps.
6 even is what I recall.
Yeah.
If you click bio on your character sheet, it'll show it there. We did plug it in.
It's not on there for me.
Oh,
Okay, there it is. Yeah. So he's 6 foot, 165 pounds, give or take. What you notice on him, those black tattoos, do they know what those are? You've probably seen them around, though you may not be fully aware of what they are.
Yeah, possibly not fully aware. Didn't really go into that yet for that reason. So we'll burn that bridge when we get to it.
You've probably seen them around. He's 24 and a medium build as far as tieflings go, although he has done some weightlifting in his day. He's definitely done some carrying of random odds and ends. His hair is jet black. His eyes are pure light gray. There's nothing in them other than light gray. But he seems to be good-natured. You can tell that he's a relatively jolly fellow. He's got a full beard, which is just the epitome of masculinity.
Okay.
And he seems to have just a helpful tone about him.
Yes. As the two of you enter the shop and he looks back at you, you're initially hit with that, what am I looking at? But you don't feel threatened. It's just kind of like that, Sort of like when a dog looks at you. Just that, oh. The shopkeeper, Aliniath, who, Theron, you have been having a discussion with about potentially having a business partnership. He kind of holds a hand up to you and looks back and he goes, yes, can I help you?
Yes. So like I've been saying, I'm hoping to establish some new trade routes for my family.
Yes, youngin. We've had those discussions. I just need to see if these new customers are here for our purchase, and then we'll go back to our conversation. Yes, you two, can I help you?
Penelope, his muscles are intimidating me.
My character looks over at the tiefling and looks over at the owner. She looks over to Adonis.
She gives you that look of like, speak for me.
Like, oh yes, sorry, I was so Miss Aliniath, we're here to help you with your, I guess, goods.
What goods? All my goods are here. Are you here to purchase any?
We're missing goods. We're here to help.
Leah, you put your nose in business too. Yes, come in. Excuse me. Sir Vito will resume our conversation in a moment.
Oh, of course.
Well, since you're here, no point in turning away help. There's been a bit of trouble in here. It seems that every night when the village tends to shut down for everyone's nightly meditation, during that 4-hour window, someone has been coming in here and taking things. Or at least I'm noticing they're gone in the morning. Could be anywhere. And I don't really know.
Is there anything specific that's been taken?
Specifically, so far, I've had a sack of grain go missing, a couple of belts and satchels, and what was there? And a couple of hoes for the gardens and for the farms. There doesn't seem to be any real rhyme or reason to what's being taken. It's just sort of, what can we get our hands on this time kind of vibe.
If I may intrude, I do believe I know someone who specializes in finding things that have been taken kind of at will.
He looks over at you, gives you the quick up and down. Well, I suppose since you already heard, and these two are already here, why not? Let's let the whole village know. Certainly. Who would it be?
An acquaintance of mine, Ortor.
Well, who am I to turn away?
Oh.
Willing help, certainly. So go, bring your friend here.
Indeed.
So you step out. Adonis and Penelope, do you follow or do you stay with Eleniath?
I decided to stay inside.
Yeah,
Wait.
I'll stay.
You'll stay?
The Oleniath, you mentioned that he is a Vita.
Oh, yes, part of the Vita. I was just trying to establish trade, and then he just begins to start to ramble as to why he doesn't want to work with anyone outside of himself. I built and have run this shop for 160 years, and there's no need for... And you sort of get that immediate regret of like, why did I ask this question?
Just do the Robert Downey interview, like, yes. You see yours? Yes.
Theron, you head out the shop, and you kind of stand there for a second, look around, try to get your bearings, and you're like, that way. You make your way over to the inn and the tavern, and instead of walking inside, you go around the side of it into the back alley and go to the trash that has been set out and the big bag with this curled up individual on top.
Can I, act out going around the corner?
Sure. What do you got?
Ortor, friend. Are you around here? Smells like you. I believe this is where I left you. Are you around here, Ortor?
So as you're walking down the alley, calling it out, you eventually see him. Does not appear to have... you know what? We'll do this.
Perception?
No, I flip a coin for that one.
Oh, hell yeah.
Lady Luck's coin. I've got a 20 on one side and a 1 on the other.
Nice.
Thank you for
and
the
that was a
follow
1.
there.
So
sample size.
yeah, you make your
Appreciate
way
it.
down the alley and you find Ortor, and he is out. Just
Ortor, wake up! Wake up, I say! How long have you been sleeping?
like a young posh Sean
Sleeping the
Connery.
day
I
away
love
once
it.
again.
Yes, I have.
Ortor, I have a need for you.
Ortor answers without even opening his eyes.
What are you asking of me this time?
Things have been going missing from a local shopkeep, and I'm trying to establish a trade route. Can you help me, Ortor?
All right. You've already disturbed my sleep now.
I knew you'd help out a friend.
So Ortor sits up on the trash bag, looks at his shoulder, and just brushes off some refuse. Just kind of gets up, stretches. You just hear the of his spine popping as he just, oh, that's nice. And the two of you make your way back to Elmswood's Goods.
Can I
Adonis,
make it a
yes.
point that, like, Theron does not acknowledge the refuse, like, at
Oh,
all?
yeah,
This is
that's
completely normal for Theron.
Oh yeah, you've known Ortor for a little bit now. It stands to reason he's gonna come with either some garbage or refuse at some point in time.
Of course.
Despite all the times you having saying like, you know, I could get you a room. We could sleep in the inn. Ortor, he's just like, nah, I like my money.
Too posh.
So the
Hey,
two
Mike,
of you
how's it
enter
going?
Elmswood's Goods. Adonis and Penelope, you turn around as the door opens, and there stands the beefy blue tiefling and a small individual who, while carrying a pungent stench that is somewhat familiar, the individual themselves is not too familiar. What do they see, Ortor?
I am a gnome. I'm 3'5", and I weigh 35 pounds. With brown skin, veil eyes, which is kind of like a green with a slight hint of blue, I believe. And like shoulder length ginger hair. That's just red.
Red and a little messy.
Dirty.
In more ways than one. Remind me again, do you have any facial hair?
I'm gonna go with no.
No. So at first glance, the two of you see Theron, the tiefling, walk in, and you think, both of you just have that fleeting thought of like, why did he bring back a child? But then as you look at him a little more, you notice, oh, he's got a good bit of gear to him. You spot what looks like could be a knife or something on his belt, and you're like, those eyes have seen a bit more of the world. So, probably not a kid. And then the two of you do sort of process, oh, it's a gnome.
The sleeping gnome that we just passed.
Eleniath, on the other hand, goes, why did you bring back this child? I thought you said you knew somebody.
Of course, he's best in the business. Have your stuff squared away in a
Child.
jiffy.
I am much older than I perceive to be.
Okay. He just kind of stares at you for a second, and then just goes, all right. Well, as I said, it seems that some of these things are going missing over the night. I come in each morning, and some of these things are missing. What were some of the items, right? The bag of grain, the tools, a couple of belts and satchels for farm hands and farm animals. There's no real rhyme or reason as to what's missing. Just sort of seems like things go missing. Just randomly. They seem to grab what they can carry. By coming in during the trance, that tells me that it's somebody in this town, and that they know about the town, and also know my work schedule and the way around my shop. This is my shop.
Oh,
So
do
it
you have any
seems-
competitors?
Competitors? There's plenty of competitors. There's a bunch of shops down here. We all sell different things, but we all still dabble in a couple of the same things here and there. If I had to say who I think it is, it'll be one of these other shopkeepers. I would say start asking them. See if any of them know.
But it seems like they're just stealing normal farm equipment or just farming stuff, correct?
Yes, and they're stealing from me.
I understand, which is unacceptable. Do you know of any local farms that may be nearby?
Just the ones where we grow the food for the inn and the wheat and grain for the animals. No,
Any that might be struggling?
No, most of us all here work together. You know, oh, your crops are not growing enough. Here, take some more seed. Oh, your tools are broken. Here, take this and pay it back when you can. Which is why this is extra infuriating.
Not anybody out to try to get you? You don't have any enemies that you know of?
You instantly see his eyes narrow with this anger. Trakos. Down the street, there's another shop. One that's more dedicated towards the farm animals than the farmers themselves, as I am. It's run by Trakos. I think it's him.
Maybe that's a first shop.
Have I had any history of trying to trade with Thrakos?
You have not.
Okay.
This was the first shop you've spoken to, and after looking at all the other shops and how some of them seem to be more gravitated towards, the farm animals or like farm equipment, this was the only one with his sacks of like grain and wheat and flour. He's the only one that's like, this is stuff that's worth trading outwardly. Everything else is sort of, it exists for the town.
Sure.
Well, it seems like a good place to start the investigation.
I do agree myself.
Seems like we have quite the formidable team. Shall we go and scope it out?
Before we do that, maybe a formal introduction would be good.
Of course. I'm Theron.
All right.
Theron Mastery Vita, as blue as the sky.
All right, I am Adonis, blessed by the gods, champion of mortals, and speaker of Penelope.
Penelope looks at the individuals and she nods silently.
When he says speaker of Penelope, he kind of gestures in her direction, and you all just see these little faint eyes and cheeks kind of poke out from behind Adonis enough to nod at each of you, and then she just kind of goes back behind him a little bit.
I am Ortor Knackle, but most people call me Cloak.
You hear Eleniath kind of grumble as you say your name, and he's giving you a dirty look, Cloak. You get the impression he doesn't really subscribe to the fan of Cloak fan base. But he just goes, all right, well, away with you.
I guess we leave.
All right, to
Just start
Thrakos.
heading.
Four of you step out, and you begin making your way down the other 2 or 3 shops in the area.
Making our way downtown. Walking fast.
Permanent disadvantage. No, you're fine. You eventually, excuse me. You guys do come to the shop that is run by another wood elf. This one, oh boy. You guys go in and you see another elf, and Theron and Adonis, the two of you, instantly feel like you're looking at individuals the size of what Cloak sees when he looks at you. This elf is absolutely massive.
Like tall or jacked and tall?
Yes. standing,
Yeah.
standing taller than most wood elves do. Most wood elves, elves can range anywhere from high 5 to high 6 feet. Wood elves kind of sit in the middle. This one's looking like a 6'3", 6'4" wood elf. And Adonis, your head could fit inside his bicep. This wood elf is massive.
I feel intimidated. Theron, you think we can take him on?
He's got very short, very well-kempt brown hair. Some light scarring on one side of the neck that looks like it may have been inflicted many years ago. And he has his back to you when he walks in, but as he turns around and you see all this, to what do I owe this pleasure?
Hello, greetings. My name is Theron. Blue is the sky, and
he looks him up and down, takes him all in,
and not quite as thick as this guy. How do you do?
Oh,
Just not ready for that.
because of that, it's very specific on this. Because of that, Cloak, I'm gonna give you advantage on your next persuasion check that involves this elf. Because you're just like, wow, that was terrible, and it rhymed. So don't mark inspiration on your character sheet, because this doesn't apply to everything. It's just your next persuasion or your next charisma check involving this elf.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Trakos Galanadel. This is my shop. What can I help you with, Theron Vita?
Yes. Well, we were passing through town and trying to. Did I say my last name was Vita?
I recognize. You could tell he glances at your arms. Your symbol.
Oh, of course. Theron is like visibly like intimidated. So if someone could bail him out, please, God.
We were looking to begin trade with the shops of the town, and we're wondering what your wares were. How goes the trade?
The trade goes well. Most of my wares are meant for the farm animals and domesticated friends of the woodlands. He looks down at you. Your hairpin. You're a starflower, yes?
And she nods shyly to him. Indeed.
Your family are good people. Is there anything I can help you with?
She looks over to the rest of the crew, and she looks over to him. Would I be able to see your animals that you're currently helping?
I have none here, young miss. I simply sell the things that people need for them. Food and the like.
Do you know if they're taking care of any in specific?
I beg your forgiveness, but the looks on your faces, you're not here to talk business. I would like to respectfully ask that you say what you came here to say.
We're trying to inquire about grain or just general farm equipment. I'm down here.
You'll want to go down the street to the Elmwood Goods for that.
Is that where I was, like the previous shop, or?
Yes, that is the previous shop you all came from. That is the shop that the things have been going missing from.
Okay, good to know.
Stuff has been disappearing, and we were told the next place might be here to find the proper goods that we're looking for.
And who told you this?
Is that of concern at the moment?
Potentially. Because somebody would be spreading false information and sending customers out of their way to a shop that doesn't have what they need.
Well, if you're trying to help farmers, shouldn't you have the required stuff?
I help farm animals. What things have been going missing?
Well, there was a satchel and a hose.
grains.
Mm-hmm.
The three of you, even Penelope, for one small item, just tend to grumble off all the things that have gone missing. So everyone's just like, this man is massive. I am in awe of the size of this lad. Alenia sent you here, I presume.
Yes.
And I would imagine he thinks I took them, did he?
He didn't outright say it, and in fact, he just said this would be a good place to start. I am not lying. Great man.
Give me a persuasion check.
I mean, I'm telling the truth.
You're telling the truth. It's not a question of whether you are or not. It's a question of whether he believes it or not.
Sure.
The good news is it's not at disadvantage because he could tell somebody to be that afraid. They're probably being honest. Ooh, a 21. He kind of leans back a little bit. All right. So he kind of leans back a little bit. No, I didn't take it. Although, I'm not one to spread rumors unnecessarily. But not many people are shopping over there lately, and with his business at risk of ending, I wouldn't be surprised if he's doing it to himself. A little cry for help.
Are you suggesting that we search a warehouse?
There are no warehouses to be found here. We keep on hand what we need, but if you were to search his house, or maybe the back of his shop, potentially you'll find your missing things. It's not difficult to simply pull something off of the floor in a small town and say it's gone.
I see. Well, thank you for the input.
Would it? Yes, of course. It wouldn't be the first time he's sabotaged himself.
Can I roll insight on what he's saying right now? The words?
Certainly. Go ahead.
Did it not roll? Oh, there it goes.
A 12. Having not had too much first-hand experience with trading yet, but coming from the family you come from, and being involved in as many trade deals as you've seen, lots of sitting there and watching, you can tell when somebody's holding something back, when there's something they want to say, but they don't really know how, or they feel it's probably not a good idea to say this. There's definitely something he wants to keep talking about, but you get the vibe that maybe he's unsure about it.
I lean in close and I pat him on the shoulder, like the where you grab him, kind of like arm to arm kind of thing, like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay.
My friend, my large and financially successful friend. Is there something that you want to say that you're not telling us?
Plenty I want to say, plenty I'm not telling you. You are aware And he was an adventurer in his youth, aren't you?
I was not.
No.
Yes. He was part of a group I was in. Two of us traveled together for many years. There were 4 of us. Kind of glances over at the 4 of you, much like the 4 of you, only less diverse. If I may respectfully say.
Oh, of course.
It was the 2 of us. A dwarf wizard. A wizard by the name of Yorn Ironblood. And he still leaning forward as you've got the Spartan embrace on his arm.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of shoots a dirty look is given to Cloak. A gnome rogue.
Ah.
A trickster. Never knew his real name. He only ever told us to call him. The 4 of you, even without an insight check, can see the pain in his eyes as he's about to say this. Tackle box.
Can I?
And you can fuck. You know what? I'm not exaggerating when I say you can taste the disdain in his mouth. He says that and you're just like, oh, he really hated that.
Oh, of course, yeah. It's a serious situation that I definitely did not laugh at. So I guess I look towards Ortor. Ortor, have you heard this name before? This Tacklebox fellow?
I don't believe I have.
They're not in any way that would assist you. Most gnomes, much like yourself, go by nicknames, and most gnomes get many nicknames. So the question isn't, have I heard Tacklebox before? It's, have I heard of somebody who fits this description of having traveled with these 2 gentlemen and did not ever give a name aside from Tacklebox? Nah. So you just give Theron that like I'm tired face and go no, because that's the short answer, and if you go any other explanation, you're gonna be here for about 20 more minutes.
Tell us about this Tacklebox then. What has he done to you?
It was simply annoying. Disarmed many a trap in dungeons and caves we delved. Sprung an equal number, and got arrested even more. I've no disrespect to gnomes, friend, but I can tell by your attire, you're a light-footed one as he was. And that is what I am not fond of.
May I ask, has he stolen from you in the past?
Not that I'm aware of. We all went our separate ways after Aleniath misplaced one of his belongings and sought to blame it on the rest of us. A bit too much infighting, and the 4 of us went our separate ways.
Now, also you have said that the shopkeep has misplaced stuff in the past.
In our youth, lost some hefty coin, and among a few other things, mostly food rations and a very nice dagger that was made for him by a client that hired us. Both of us being from this village, it was a bit awkward to come back here together. But we've kept to ourselves since then, so if he is having, dare I say, the audacity to accuse me of stealing his things, I would encourage you investigate the source first.
Very well.
Well, we appreciate the insight.
And I finish the pat on the arm and kind of back off.
Your hand stings a little bit. It was like slapping a frozen beef.
So I guess I look towards the group.
So, do we investigate the first shop?
That would be my guess.
I'm actually gonna look back at Tracos. I like to ask Tracos. Do you know where his house might be located?
I cannot condone breaking into a man's house. I can tell you, it appears from outside eyes, personally, it appears he may live in his shop, in the back or something of that nature.
Alrighty then. I believe I have the information I require. I think we should get going to the other shop.
Is it possible for my character to look around his shop as far as the items that were taken to see if he has any, and to refer to maybe an animal in specific that could be related to the objects that were taken?
Make sure I understand. You're looking in this new shop for the objects that were taken from the last shop,
Yeah. Well,
or
just in reference.
anything that indicates they could be here.
I'm
That sound-
assuming because due to the items that were taken, the grains, like you can maybe somewhat infer a specific animal, a specific critter, or mammal, that is.
You could if you knew exactly what it was. All he said was it was a bag of grain.
And a few
Like-
belts and slashes, right?
Yeah, and a few belts to like tie things down to like oxen or other animals of those nature, or the information that was given to you regarding the missing items, none of it was enough to specify this is going towards a specific animal. It's just these are the things that went missing. So if you still want to look around for them, though, we can have you roll a investigation check.
Okay.
Would the shops have like their
Ooh,
like
nat
their
20.
Oh wow.
That yeah.
Like
Carry on.
each shop have like their own marking to the products of their own, or are they just general stuff?
Due to the small size of this town and how Elenius said that most everyone here tends to work together with basically freely giving and taking things that are needed.
Okay.
There's no real markings short of like very specific items. For the most part, it's just we help each other out.
Okay.
Penelope with a nat 20 on the investigation. If there is one thing that doing nothing but reading books your entire life has done for you, you have quick eyes. You can scan an area, search for the information you need, and in the time it takes somebody to go, hey, there's a picture on the wall, you're like, there's a safe behind that picture. You got quick eyes, you process information quick. At the end of that conversation, you're like, cool, time to leave. As you turn around, 180 degrees, turn around to face the exit of the shop, you keep your head moving to survey the entirety of the shop. And immediately, before you even take your first step, you're able to go, it's not here. This guy is telling the truth. He did not take these items.
Okay. In that case, my character looks up to Adonis as soon as we walk out, and then hovers over to the rest of the other group members, and she whispers, it's definitely not here. He is telling the truth.
I tell Theron that I can finally breathe. Having two beef boys in there was too much.
Oh, what a time that was.
Not for me, not for me.
some strict companionship and a lack of air. That's what I like to see in a trading environment.
That was suffocating. For someone like me, that was suffocating.
Perfect.
Otto, how did you feel inside?
The usual. I'm used to looking up to people.
Nothing intimidating by, extra large features?
I'm used to people being bigger than me.
Okay. And how do you feel about Hacklebach? Would you ever call yourself that?
That seems like a not very wise choice of a name.
I mean, it's very misleading, I guess.
I mean, they could be a jack of all trades. They might have many capabilities. Or just be useless as a tackle box.
Yeah. You could deceive people, I guess.
That is also true.
Are you guys walking and talking, or are you just standing outside?
Walking
the
and talking.
Walking and talking.
I'm glad you guys said that, because if we weren't walking, Theron was literally just staring at the sky, because he is not wise. He's intelligent, but he's not wise.
I don't have a smart boy either.
Same.
Oh boy.
But Penelope, that was good. That was... Yeah.
So, let's say we do my favorite pastime until perhaps evening and go to an inn and consume some alcohol.
So we'll go to the... consume some beverages.
Mm-hmm.
And then when time comes for them to meditate, are we camping out to see if this little thief of ours or, ever shows up?
I think that a little bit of reconnaissance is at hand here, and we might be able to gather some more information from the innkeeper.
You just want it, don't you?
Yes, I'm quite thirsty.
Okay. I'm down for some ale.
That's more like it. Slap him on the back.
How close is the inn to the shop?
I mean, it's a pretty smallish village, so not too far away at all.
Ever.
Well, he said he had a theory of him living in the back. So
Do we walk past it, maybe? To get to
Oh,
the inn?
is that the question? Yes, you would pass Elmwood Goods to get to the inn.
Can I stop and take a walk around the building or look to see if there's any other entrances other than the main door into the shop as we walk past?
Yeah. So, excuse me. So as you guys start to pass Elmwood Goods, Cloak says, "Hold on 1 second." Quickly dart down the side and check it out. Are you, just casually walking along, or you trying to not be seen, or what's the scoop there, super shooter?
I'm just gonna casually walk around it because I would imagine people are used to seeing me in the alleyways of my tattered nature.
Nah, not awake, but yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so you just take a quick lap around the building, and you don't see anything abnormal. You do see what you're looking for. There is a back entrance that looks like maybe if stuff is delivered to him, he keeps some of it back there, or it could maybe lead into a living space if he has any. And a couple of the windows are big enough. Excuse me, I don't know where that's coming from. A couple of the windows are big enough to get in and out of, but not too many, only 2 or 3 maybe.
So as I walk past the windows, is there anybody that would be nearby at the time?
Nearby as in the immediate area? No, but you are... I'm just getting sweaty in these things. You are completely visible because the windows are not at the back. The windows run the sides, and they're mostly windows of the shop portion.
Okay. Never mind then. I was gonna see if there were windows like in the back, of like where the back entrance may lead to.
No, not back there.
Like
No.
to peek in. Like you were trying to peek in, basically.
Yeah, if there was a back window to see if anything was of interest back there. So it's just the rear door of the building and the front door.
Correct.
I will go back to the group and tell them of my information. I walked around the building, guys, and all I could see were just the windows into the shop and just a back door. I do not have any knowledge of any possible other areas that he could be in or ways out.
How clean were the windows? I always say a good shopkeep always keeps his windows clean.
They were windows that were pretty clean. You know, you're in a town in the woods, like mini forest, so there's always going to be that degree of like pollen and stuff. But for the most part, like as clean as they could be.
A prideful shopkeep. Okay. Of course. Well, shall we go to the inn then?
I say let's shall.
Penelope, have you ever been to an inn or a tavern?
She looks down and she just shakes her head. No.
Don't worry, we'll go to a corner and stay away from. What do you? You'll be fine. I promise.
Hey everyone, Shadow Rockets here,
The voice of Theron Vita.
and I hope that you are enjoying our very first attempt at a D&D podcast. So this is Half Luck. Welcome to the group. We do stream this every other Friday at twitch.tv/ShadowRockets. I just have a few announcements to make since we don't have any sponsors so far. First of all, I'd like to apologize ahead of time. I didn't quite run my calculations correctly for weight, and Theron is actually 220 pounds. I believe I said he was 160 pounds before. Also, if you didn't quite catch it, there's going to be some updates to Adonis's mask as we go along. So there's going to be a few changes as we move throughout the storyline. If you'd like to follow along the storyline in real time, we do stream our podcast every other Friday at twitch.tv/ShadowRockets. That is SHADOWRCKTS. Additionally, we do upload these files to YouTube if you'd like to watch later to get a visual of what we're all doing. We do have our webcams on, and we'll be getting more webcams on and more visuals up and running as we progress. That being said, our audio solution is going to change after these first 2 episodes, so hopefully we get some higher quality audio for everybody in episode 3 or so. Anyways, I'll get you right back into the action, and I hope you enjoy.
So you guys head over to the inn. It's one of the biggest buildings in the town. It is very pristine from the outside. There's a big green leaf of a sign that hangs down, indicating that you are at the Green Leaf Inn. So, you guys walk in. It's a very nice inn. Very well kept, sort of like what's a real world restaurant that's sort of like high end but not really, kind of like Olive Garden. You know, like you'll never ever find a trashy Olive Garden, but you can definitely find those ones that are like, oh, this is fancy, you know. Very nice, very calm, very quiet. A couple of people sitting and eating. A couple of the half elves of the town and village are just sitting at a table on their own because most people are just giving them that side eye. A shorter wood elf kind of looks over at you, at the 4 of you. she's got her hair pulled back in this bun, this very light green tinted hair. And she goes, "One moment. Make yourselves busy." And all the half-elves get up all of a sudden. And you notice they're all wearing aprons. One of the shorter half-elves with black hair pulled back in a single braid walks over to you. And you met with the... Where would you like to sit?
Yeah, booth, please, near the back.
This way, please. You led to the back. You sit down in the booth. 4 of you kind of get comfortable. It's nothing padded, nothing cushioned, but it's very well made to where, you know, it doesn't hurt to sit on. And he just looks around and he's like, "What can I get you?"
Ale for me, please.
I'm sorry?
Ale.
We don't have ale.
What do you have? That's alcohol.
We have a fine assortment of elvish wines imported from elvish cities across this region of the continent.
Theron is very sad, and he is not hiding it well.
Big old disappointment face. He says, "No ale," and you just hear glunk as 2 horns hit the table.
Do you have anything cheap and would do the trick?
I suppose we do have some mead, but it's not really... Kind of leans in. It's not really strong.
Will, if I drink enough, will it?
Quantity over quality. I like this one.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think you'd be drinking into the morn, my lord, but possible. Just improbable.
Do you have wine that tastes of ale?
I'll just bring you something. I'll bring you my favorite or something.
Of course.
Kind of just walks off, stops. Any food?
You know, this reminds me of an inn I stopped at up north that had this wonderful endless salad. And
Theron, as he says that, he kind of like runs his gaze over the 3 of you, and when you go back, the half-elf's gone.
like a garden of olives, this place was. Wonderful bread.
The endless of the breadsticks.
Oh fuck. Oh fuck.
I believe it was called Olive Basket. I can't remember.
Try to drink here.
Son of a...
And just like that, inserted Olive Basket into the world.
Oh fuck.
Can't even go with like something different, like grape or something.
Grape God. Grape God, and got to go for that alliteration.
Grape God. Grapes are much too fancy for the north. Anyway.
Well, they do make wine, so.
This is true.
When you go to the south, it's not as fancy, so they're raisin garden.
Raisin garden. With flapjacks instead of pancakes for breakfast.
The worst time to take a drink.
And it seems like everyone there's always fighting.
Always fighting. But they're a rowdy bunch. They're a good
What are we,
time.
McDonald's?
They're the last people to evacuate when a hurricane hits, I'll tell you that. Now it's Raisin Garden and Waffle House mixed together.
But you know what they always say? At least they always tell me, at least there's no tornadoes or earthquakes, so I suppose...
Adonis just putting a hand on Theron's forehead like, "Are you feeling okay? What?" No, I'm kidding. You brought some wines, and unsurprisingly, a basket of bread.
How is the wine? Genuinely.
I mean, if you're looking for like a description of what wine actually tastes like, you're talking to the wrong person. I don't drink, but I know how to wing it. It's a very sweet wine. There's a little bit of tart to the aftertaste. You taste a lot of apricots and berries. Raspberries more so than anything other. It's very... Not very. It's smooth, but there's that hint of like, it lingers. It's certainly nothing to write home about, but it's also not bad. Cloak's over there, it's like, I've had so much worse.
So had so much better.
And, Penelope, have you ever had any of the wines in your town before, being the shut-in you are?
No, absolutely not. And actually, I was about to say that if my character could kind of like tug at her like sleeve and ask her for some water and seeds for her bird before she walked out, because that is not normally what she would drink.
So we'll say you didn't catch the half-elf in time the first time they walked away, but when they come back with everything, you're just kind of like... Feed water. It kind of gives you this puzzled look, and then looks at the raven, and again, ah! Yes, I'll be right back. Leaves. What is the intent for you guys right now? Are you just gonna sort of chill in the inn, or like you're just gonna kind of chill until nighttime?
I
Or
actually
is
think
there
I've
another
devised
plan?
a plan, and I think I want to run it by everybody.
All right.
As much as I'd like to genuinely catch Adonis off guard by doing this later, Adonis, and I look at him, sizing him up. I've already started drinking, so keep in mind that liquor is involved, whether it be, Theron's a big guy, but he doesn't hold his liquor very well. It's unfortunate.
He's a lightweight.
He's a lightweight. He's
That's
above
why we go
average
for ale.
constitution. He is above average constitution. However, he kind of takes pride in being able to get drunk for cheap. That's what he puts it off as. But anyway, show Adonis.
Yes.
Oh, you said that we could go in when they were meditating at night. Also,
I
thank you
wouldn't-
for the 300 bits.
I wouldn't say us go in, but we could camp out and see if, there's a suspicious figure lurking around.
That is true. I was thinking that, maybe we could distract the shopkeep, and let our friend Otto maybe have a look around, have a look-see in the back.
We could. Sounds like a good plan.
So I was thinking about wrestling in the streets. How do you feel about wrestling? Friendly, of course.
It would be my pleasure. The first time I saw you, I was intimidated. But now, I'm glad I met you.
Oh, likewise, friend.
A toast to wrestling.
A toast to wrestling.
The light wooden gluk of your goblets clacking together.
2 distractions.
And that being said, dearest sweet child Penelope, I know not a lot about you, but I've noticed that you're rather timid. It could potentially add to the show if you were maybe a distraught onlooker. Or you could help Otto.
be as a damsel in distress. You two men fighting over such a lovely lady.
She kind of looks over at Adonis.
Just looking
and
at her with a
looks over
thumbs
to
up, like,
Sarah.
Always.
So it sounds like that plan is amusing. So, sounds like everybody's on board. When do you intend to execute this plan?
shall we say before meditation? I don't know what
Maybe
time that
maybe
is.
slightly before. Like what's a reasonable time to kind of like have gone out and start drinking? You know, we pretend we both kind of liquored up a little bit.
Um, Bear with me. I need to draw the connections here. I don't do quick maths. So for humans, real world humans, I mean, you would probably consider that 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. And elves need half the sleep we do, so if we cut that in half, probably around 11 p.m., midnight-ish.
Sure.
If you wanted, actually, with Penelope's knowledge and Penelope's first-hand knowledge of being an elf, and the rest of you having traveled enough to have met other elves, you know that if the goal is to, like, get a crowd, especially get his attention, it might be best to do it either right before the meditation or right after the meditation starts. Something that will force people to try to acknowledge what's going on.
Sure. Okay. Should we perhaps ask the wait staff or the bartender? Maybe they have some more insight into what could be going on. Have they heard some things about the local trade, or perhaps we could buy a round for the wait staff?
As he says that, you see all of the waitstaff look over in your direction and then look back at the bar. Penelope, you remember your mother told you when she was like, "You're going," she told you that he hasn't told anybody except your mother because he and your mother are pretty good friends.
Mhm.
At that point, the innkeeper just goes, "1, and you only get it when your shift is over." She looks over at you. "Better pay, stranger."
Of course, madam. Penelope, you look like you have something to say.
I was actually about to ask you because I was like, well, before then we went to the runs. I know my raven. She has like the ability to mimic. Could Penelope make the raven scream to attract the attention that they need?
To the degree that you guys want, possibly not. Let me check one thing, actually. To the degree you want to draw as much attention as you want, no.
Okay.
For all intents and purposes, it's a standard raven. Nothing special about it.
Okay, got it.
We could ask the waitstaff if they've heard any rumors from their local clientele of possible, just maybe of the stuff that might be disappearing, or just if there's anything else that might be going on in the town.
Sure.
As you go to finish that sentence and take a bite of your bread, Cloak, Penelope's raven darts off her shoulder and snatches the bread out of your hand.
I was going to eat that.
Oh, the fellow seems hungry.
Caws at you in a very fuck you kind of way.
Bastard.
You might not
I-
want to upset it. Those things have a very fine memory.
I apologize. I will pay for your bread and ask for more. Could she gesture at the waitress to get more?
Yeah. Like, it's like some sort of garden of olives. They
I was
just
about to
keep
say,
bringing
what
you
kind of
more.
Olive Garden is this? Do we not get unlimited breadsticks?
They keep bringing you the little small cubes of bread. So, sounds like the plan is set. You have the time frame you want to execute it. Is there anything else you guys want to discuss about this plan, or anything else that you would like to accomplish at this point in time?
Ask the wait staff if
yeah.
there's like any rumors or anything that would be going on, like later in the night.
Well, we
Okay.
just bought them a round of drinks. We should probably ask while we're on their good side.
Yeah.
All right.
It gives us advantage, right?
No advantage, but well, shot. Yeah. So roll me an investigation check, cloak.
Oh,
Well, hot damn.
Ooh,
Well,
let's go.
look at the back-to-back nat 20 investigation.
well, I will never not reward a nat 20. Most of the staff, as you ask, like, hey, we bought you a drink. What have you heard? Most
Come
of
here.
them don't really have anything to report. They're just kind of like nothing. Like there's no rumors. It's a small town. You're one of them. You're like, have you heard any rumors? Anything? Anyway, what's the goings on around here? She just goes, bad gas travels fast in a small town, and leaves. And you're like, that was nowhere near as formal as any other answer we've gotten. What's going on there? The last one that you ask, however, turns out to be the one that's actually waiting on you. Goes, well, I've sort of heard, some of the things you've been saying, that those shopkeepers that you talked about, I hear they used to travel together, like, as adventurers, and that they got into some pretty crazy stuff. And you're like, yeah, that's information that we already fucking had.
Do appreciate the information from you. If there's anything else, don't hesitate to come inform us.
Well, I heard they left because they, you know.
You know what?
Shared a sleeping bag?
This is normal, of course.
This wet dish towel just right on his face. He goes, she goes, what did I tell you about spreading those lies? Dishes now. And he goes in the back, pulling the towel off his face, like, oh, it's covered in ale. We don't have ale here, you idiot.
Meat.
Forgive the little one. Doesn't know what he's talking about. The two of them never shared a sleeping bag. I don't know why he tells us rumors. Is there anything else we're getting for you, or can we settle up the bill?
I think, yes, we can settle the bill.
Well, if you want to keep having these drinks and the bread, and any food will be additional, but a single gold piece will cover you for everything you've had so far and a bit more.
I'll give up one of my gold pieces.
All right. And in your character sheet, mark off gold piece. You hand that over. I'll have refills coming right away.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
From somebody else. All right. Anything else?
Nothing in particular, but I think that when we get ready to leave, I would like to spill a bit of wine on myself.
Okay.
Just enough to get the scent on me, you know.
All right. Anyone else? Anything else?
I'd like to eat the bread without the crow taking it from me.
You get your next piece
You
of
brought
bread.
that bread.
You get your next piece of bread, and as you go into your mouth,
Right, yes, Theron, for our performance later, please do mind the mask.
Of
Should
course.
not be unmasked. Thank you.